That's all really great insight. I saw something when you were talking about you have to fail in that point. I saw something on the other day on social media that says it was like what are you gonna suck at today or something like that.
Yeah.
Like try to change the mindset of like, all right, if you don't suck at something, then again, you'll never learn, you'll never grow. So that's really good, great stuff.
Yeah, you can't just like chicken nuggets and eat chicken nuggets every day for the rest of your life. You got to try something new, you
Right.
know?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I love that. So kind of switching gears here. This is motivational Monday. So I kind of want to, and you spoke a lot about your mindset, which I kind of want to get into as well. Is there something specific that somebody might have told you, either getting into your career or even growing up, or a book passage that really speaks to you and how you're able to move, how you're able to function, as the successful person that you are? Yeah, anything kind of motivational.
I have one. I have one. It's real. It's a short passage. I keep it really close because in everything we do, there's ebbs and flows, there's ups and downs. Nothing's always just going to be ramped up. You're going to climb and you're going to have successful periods in time, and then you're going to have slow points. Currently, I'm just in and coming out of a slow point, and I base that off of the fact that I just came off a really, really high point. I just finished a huge job for clients that sold their house to a Celtics player, Jason Tatum. So a lot of what they did was even beyond what they've done in the past. They really ramped it up because they had that Tatum money. They love what I do. They built a massive home. I did 6 bathrooms, a bathtub, 3 kitchens, all in this one home. So great job, but those jobs don't come every day. So getting back to the bread and butter, what started me, I have all these little jobs in the shop now. I have a little $600 sink I'm doing for a client, a past client who came to me and said, I need a favor. And I'm doing a small countertop. At one point I thought I could not take jobs under certain amounts of money. I say, oh, if it's not 5,000 or if it's not 10,000, I don't want it. That's really not the truth. The fact of the matter was is that I just didn't think I had time to do that small job because it would become a nuisance. So coming out of this climb and now coming out of the dive, I just kind of went through this slight depression where I have all these little jobs that I have to do, which all include travel to each individual place. And they all include different emails, and they all include all this different communications and samples and a whole bunch of work. It's all this little micro work, right? And I can't let that get me down because that's the bread and butter. We're going to call it the bread and butter, okay? You have to remember where you came from and always be willing to go back to that. So, my little passage that someone said to me is don't worry, work. Worrying doesn't get you anywhere. If you have downtime, and I've developed this for myself and it really works, and I'm doing it right now. I'm going through it. It's a mental battle because I could wrap this up, quit, and go get a job tomorrow, and I can work on somebody else's dreams. But if I sit here and I worry, I'm not going to get anything done. And I'm just going to pollute my brain with worry. And worry doesn't get you anywhere. So work. Now, what work means is clean the shop, because it'll come. The phone will ring. The phone's never going to ring if you're just sitting around. So if I'm cleaning the shop, I'm investing in cleanliness. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Everything happens for a reason. All of these little sayings. But don't worry, work means work on the things that you can't do when you're so busy. That to do list, the honey-do list if you're married. Go mow the lawn that you haven't gotten to mow and it's long. Paint the house. Go do the things that you don't get to do when your business consumes you. Because when you are so busy, it's hard to step away to do personal things because you have a commitment to the client. Don't worry, just work is just a small passage that really helps get me out of the funk, so to speak. You know, aside from that, I get a lot of great advice, and I listen to that. Listen to the advice that great people give you. When somebody told me to start doing more videos instead of for content, it's great advice because he said people want to watch videos. They don't want to just look at pictures. You have to apply that. You have to do in order to make it happen, you have to do. Just do it. Nike did it, right? That's their motto.
I was gonna ask you too. You mentioned just work, which is that was a great, that's a great thing to think about or have in your back pocket while you're in those modes of I can't get opportunity or I can't this, I can't that. Just focus your energy on the controllables.
Right.
So what I was gonna ask you is in those moments, how do you kind of prioritize what to work on? Like how do you focus your energy towards, I guess, the more important thing in that moment and how do you kind of function
Yeah.
and organize?
No, great question. And it comes back to more great advice. People say write it down. Write down everything that you have to do, and then you get to prioritize that list. Because if you just think about what you have to do, you're going to get lost in the moment and you'll start doing something that might not matter at that very moment. So the way that it works for me is I say, what do I have to do right now? I know what I have to get done, but which one do I do right now? Which one can I complete? Which one's going to matter most? Do I go mow the grass or do I clean the shop? I probably should clean the shop because when the work comes, I'm going to need clean workspace. I can always mow the grass. I can put off the grass as long as possible. It's not going anywhere. Clean my tables and get ready because if I prepare for a workload's going to come. But if I'm not ready to handle a workload, the workload's not going to come. I might as well just go mow the grass and then this is always going to be here. And then when the workload comes, then I'm like, holy shit, I have to go clean the shop. And part of my language. Prioritizing is huge. That was a great question. And I definitely suggest I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this dry erase board. It's a monthly planner calendar and it has all these days on it. And I try to foresee those days when I'm busy and I will write out weeks worth of a schedule. And it's a schedule that never gets complete. So you know that if you have a list of things to do, 10 things on the list today to do, that you have a list tomorrow of 10 things to do, that you're only going to do 5 today, that means you have to do those other 5 tomorrow. And then the 10 that you have for tomorrow, you might not be able to do until the next day, which bumps everything back. Some things are quicker than others. So sometimes you want to just bang those out and say, like you mentioned controllables. Only focus on what you can control. I have a lot of work in the waiting, and a lot of commercial work typically comes a year or two in advance because they have the horse in front of the cart. And then you have clients that call and they're backwards. They have the cart in front of the horse because when I say, oh, when are you looking to have this done? They're like, yesterday. It doesn't work like that. Now I want to prioritize you above these other clients that have more time. I've never had a problem with a client calling me saying, hey, like how's it going? Like when are you going to be here? Because I'm usually already going to be complete in a time frame that they didn't even expect. Everybody's 12 weeks out, 16 weeks out. I'm like 3 to 6 weeks out. So when people hear that, they're like, oh, wow, we don't even need this for 3 months. So now I know that I have space with you to give clients what they want that are behind the 8 ball. Oh man, I've been looking for someone like you for so long. I'm glad I finally found you. What's your lead time? Would like to have this job finished in 2 weeks. And I'm like, I can do it, but let's get it locked in. Like there's a lot of things we have to talk about. We have to lock in the design and color and meetings and deposits and I have to give you a price before I put too much time into this because I can come see you, tell you I can do it, and then spend all this time on a client and then give them a price and then they never return my call. It's happened, but it's not very often. People seek me out and being an artisan, there's no market that you can compare what I do. So most of my clients, they want what they want and money's not an issue. So without gouging them, I need to, like Pete said, set that bar. I want you to set the bar in this area for pricing. Very rarely do people tell me that I'm expensive. I'm usually telling them that I'm expensive, but expense is really just you don't know what's expensive to someone. Some of these clients I might say I'm expensive, but they spent $20,000 on a chandelier. With that said, like people in the inner cities or the suburbs, less fortunate areas, like Fitchburg and Gardner. Like I don't do a lot of work out there because they're not going to want to pay the artisanal price. You know, it's often better that I give them advice sometimes and say, hey, they say, hey, can you make us a bunch of tiles? And I'm like, hey, listen, I saw this awesome concrete looking tile. It's like $3 a square foot. You don't want me to make these tiles for you, and I'll help people that way too. You know, if people call me to do flat work and I don't really have time to do that work and I'm not taking that, I give them part of my network. And I say, hey, if they don't answer, call me back and I'll point you somewhere else. It's really just give, 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 give. And it all comes back. Low expectations.
100% agree. And the last thing, like you mentioned, this is big. So it's understanding your market. You're a person that definitely understands your market, who you're selling to, and from a business perspective, for all my people on the platform that are after their business degree or they're working or trying to understand the business that they're in, understanding your market is something you saw that you touched on that. It's telling me that we have 4 minutes remaining right now.
Okay.
Unfortunately, so I'm gonna wrap it up with this last question. I'm gonna leave the floor to you, or just anything else that you'd like to add. That you might have not spoken about yet, that you think might be important for the next generation of workers and
Yeah.
students coming out.
Well, it goes like this. Perfect timing. My daughter's fiance asked me, hey, how did you start? And I said, just start it. We've all heard the saying, build it and they will come. You know, some people don't understand what that means, but I'm going to tell you my perspective of that. Start the business. Start a business with something that you do. Just start because someone's looking for you. If you're not out there, they'll never find you. You can't wait for a client to come find you and then say, oh, I'll go start the business tomorrow and then I'll come do the work. Just start. It's an investment. Invest in yourself. Take that chance. You know, I treaded water. We're all treading water, and everybody's afraid to dive down because they're going to drown. So they'd rather just swallow mouthfuls of water, treading water to live life. And I got tired of that, and I said, you know what? I'm going, and I dove, and I went where people won't go. They're afraid, and I found all this air down there, and it was just unlimited, and I don't have to tread water anymore. It's a whole different fight. Stress will never go away, but I'd rather be stressed with work than stressed without work. You know, just build it. Whatever it is that you have, just build it, man, and they will come. And that's what that means. Start your company, get your insurance, you know, minimalize everything and just manifest. Manifest your own destiny and greatness. And next thing you know, man, the phone will ring. Don't spend all your money on advertising. Just word of mouth, business cards, and be good at what you do, you know, and have a passion.
That's awesome. Oh yeah, well, that's a lot of really great stuff, and I really appreciate you coming on here and taking the time to speak with me. There's a lot of really good stuff that's gonna hopefully help the next person out that wants to get into the trade or wants to get into the business side and doesn't know how to do it. So thank you for your time.
Yes, Tim. Anytime. We can do this again anytime. Run it back.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.